Talmud Beis. Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Sholosh Avonim Zubit Sad Markulas Asura. You had a statue to Mercury. And you have stones that were on either side of it. Because the way they worshiped Mercury would throw stone. Mercury was like the divinity for the travelers. And as people walked by, they would throw a stone at it. So the stones that were thrown, now certainly if you saw two stones side by side with a third stone on top of it, that was how they built a Merkulis to begin with. So certainly that. But we're saying even if there were stones around it, they're asuros. The stones are takruvis of Avodah Zara. It's like you're offering something to the Avodah Zara and you can't use it. Now, shtayim mutaros. The Gemara will explain why. If you only find two, not three, then they're permitted. Chachamim oimrim, it has nothing to do with two or three. Those that near us imo, if it looks like it fell from the original Markulis, asuros. She'ein near us imo, if it's distant from it, we'll see what the getter of that is. If it's not near it, it's mutaros, even if you have three. So the Gemara Bishra Rabbanan Ksavri, Oivdim L'Shvorim. So according to Chachamim, we say that Avodah Zarniks will worship even broken pieces of an Avodah Zara. So we understand nearest imo that those that are near it would be asur the iklamem minei nafal, because we have a tzad to say that it fell from the original idol and they'll worship even parts of the idol, and therefore asuros. And ein nearest imo, if they're not close to the idol, mutaros, because it didn't fall from the idol. But El Rabbi Shmuel, Mike Summer. What does Rabbi Shmuel hold? Shvurin, if he holds that they worship pieces, so why would he only prohibit three and not two? It should make a difference how many you find. Even two should be prohibited. And if he ain't oivdin lishvarim, if the goyim did not worship the pieces, afilu tlas nami lo. So why should three be usher? So they're trying to get it to the bottom line. Why? To stake their opinions. Why? We're a mem tesom and beis in the Gemara. Arav Yitzchak bar Yosef Amrav Yechnan biyadua shenashu mimenu divar kol asuros. If we know for sure, it's not a suffix. If we know for sure that these stones fell from the idol itself, then we don't care how many they were, where they are. They're going to be prohibited. Afilu man domer ein ovim l'shvara. And even according to the opinion that says that they don't worship broken pieces, listen, that's like a regular idol. It has nothing to do with stones. Here, the whole way of worshiping this Merkulis with broken pieces that you threw stones to make a pile. So hainu urcha, and therefore they would also be part of the Avodah Zara. So ki pligi b'sama, where we don't know for sure where these stones came from. Or b'mukarovos nami, even if they're close, where there's a tzad to say that they fell from the idol itself, divrei kol asuros. But ki pligi b'meruchos, if they're far away. Right, the Gemara, what do you mean v'habitzad markulas ktani, which means close. My bitzad arba amos today. As long as it's within 4 amas. Rabbi Shmuel Savar, Oisim Markulis Cotton Bitzad Markulis Godel. They would build a little tiny Markulis next to the big one. And therefore, Sholosh Dedamian, the Markulis Asuros. The three that look like they're in the shape of the Markulis, like we said, two stones with one on top of another, they're prohibited. But two random ones would be mutaros. But Rabbanon Savri, ein oisim markulas kod mitzvah markulas kodel. They don't make a little markulas. For loishna shalish, loishna shtayim, then it makes no difference how many you find. It all depends how close to the Avodah Zara. Nearest emo, if it looks like it fell from the Avodah Zara, then asuros. She'ein nearest emo, if they're far away, mutaros. Haramar. Biyadu shenashum imenu divar kol asuros. We say if there's no suffix, we know for sure that the stones fell from the riddle idol, then everybody holds it's prohibited. V'riminu. Avonim shenoshum na merkulos. Stones that fell from this markulos. Nearest imo asuros. If they're close, asuros. A nearest imo mutaros. Rabbi Shmuel Omer, no. It has to do with number. Shalosh, if you find three, asuros. Shnayim mutaros. But that's even if you know for sure, it seems, that it came from the original idol. Amar Rav Loitem is shenashru. Elaima shenimtzu. It was found, but not. If we know for sure that it fell from the idol, then everybody would hold it's usher. This summer, Rabbi. Hi, Abe. We're on Nun Amid Aleph, not far from the top. Savar Rabbi Shmuel Sheshtayim Mutaros. Did Rabbi Shmuel hold that if you find two, it's permitted? Vatanya, Rabbi Shmuel Omer. Shtayim betfisalo. Let's say two are near it, asuros. Shalosh, afilu merchokachos afilu asuros. If you're three, since that's the normal way of building the markulas, it's also prohibited. Amar Rav Eloi Kasha. Kan, when do we say it's prohibited betfisa achas? There's no hefsek between the markulas and the stones. Kan b'shtei tfisos. They're in two different groups. Heichi domi. How do we know if it's two groups? Te'ika goyva beni ubeni. There's a height, little mound. They're not in the same level place. So we can't really say through gravity that it fell from the one. Can you build a Merkulis this way? That you can find two or three stones no matter what shape? Vatanya, base kulis. This is how you construct a Markulis. Like two stones with one stone on top of the two make a triangle. So just finding three random stones near it would not classify as Markulis. That's the original one. But then when they add and they throw other stones, then you don't have to build it in that way. Beyanai Malka Choru. The palace of Yanai Melech was destroyed. Also Goim Ukmile Markulis. Goim came to put up a Markulis there. Also Gamachrinit Lopakil Markulis Shakil. Other Goim came along who don't worship Markulis and remove the stones. The Chibuban Drachim Misatros, and they used the stones to pave roads. And Ikir Rabbanan depreciate. There were some Chachamim that stayed off those roads, and some who used the roads. We have sons of holy people that walk there, and we're going to stay away, so we don't have to worry. Who are those holy ones? It's Rabbi Nachman bar Simoy. Why was he called the sons of Kedoshim? He would not even look at the head of the Caesar that was minted on the coin because he thought it was Avodah Zara. My time at the Man Parish. What was the reason of the people who stayed away from the road? Even though these goyim went and took the stones and made it into a pavement, you'd think that would be a nullification of the Avodah Zara. No. How do you know that things that were offered to the Avodah Zara cannot be niptal? So Nemar, vayismedul balpor vayachlu zivchei mesim. Ma meis ein lo betela la'olam. You cannot be mevatel the tuma or the isra of a mace after comes Avodah Zara and lam betela la'olam. So that's why those who stayed away stayed away. Man deloy porish omar beina ke'ein pnim. When you offer something to Avodah Zara, in order to assert as a takrut of Avodah Zara, has to be similar to something that was done in the Beis Hamikdash. Veleka, we don't offer stones in our Beis Hamikdash. So we'll see certain actions are viewed like what was done in the Beis Hamikdash, which then become Asr. Rav Yosef Baramba. Ikla Rabbi Bar Yirmiyah Asr. Rabbi Bar Yirmiyah came to our place. For us of Aisi Masis Biyani, brought a Baraisa. Goy Shevi Avodim in America. A non-Jew brings stones from a merculus. The Chipra and he paid roads with it. Faros. You can use those roads. But Yisrael Shevi Avodim in America was Chipra and Drachmas Atasura. They are prohibited. The less naga below ba naga different. There's no carpenter or son of a carpenter that can explain this kasha. Amrav says, "Ano lo nagar, ano below bar nagar." I'm not a carpenter and not a son of a freak. I'll explain. My kushalach, the Rav Gidel. What is this problem that you have? That Rav Gidel said that you can't ever be mavatal at the Avodah Zara. You just answered, Be'ina ke'ein pni and veleka. The worship has to be somehow done like in the Beis Hamikdash, and it wasn't, so that's why it's not us. Rabbi Bar Yirmiyah came to our territory, he brought a baraisa. Matliin, you can remove worms from a tree. Mazimin, you put fertilizer on a wound in a tree. Bishviyas, on Shemitah. It's not considered that you violated the Shemitah words. However, in Matlina Muzamid B'moyed, Cholamoid is stricter. It's considered a work, and you can't do it. Now, both during Shemitah and Cholamoid, Ein Megazmin, I think that's like they're trimming the leaves. And if you did it, the Sachin Shemen, the Gazum, they can't do Gizum, but they can put oil in the area where they trimmed. In order so that the tree.
He's talking about deworming the tree.
No, that's Matlian. I'm talking about the word Megazmin.
Oh.
That's taking care of the leaves. That helps the leaves grow back. Right? Not worming is the first word. The second word, convicat. And then ain Megazmin, that's trimming the trees, trimming the leaves.
Pruning it.
Trimming. I said trimming, the same thing. Okay. Veles nagar velo bar nagar diffrikin. And there is nobody who can explain it. But I'll explain it. Micah Kashli, what's the problem? That why Cholamoid and Osir and Shviz? Maishna Shviz to show you Maishna Moed to Osir? Is that the problem? They're not the same. Midami. Shviz Malacha Osrachmana, but this is just Tircha Shari. Real Malacha, the Torah prohibited, but just the Tircha is permitted. But Moed is more stringent. I feel Tirchanami Osir. So maybe that's not your problem. Elazium al Gizum Kakashale. You're allowed to do Ziyum, but not Gizum. Why? Maishna Ziyum de Shari. Maishna Gizum de Osir. Midami, they're not comparable. Ziyum Ukmi Il Nevishari. The Ziyum process is to keep the tree alive, standing, so it won't damage. Gizum Avruya Ilna. That's sort of treating an illness. And you make it even better. And it causes more growth, and that's Osir. Ela Ziyum, the Ziyum Kakashale Diktani. Mazimu b'shvius. You can deworm and you can put fertilizer on shvius. Reminu. Mezamim is netios. You can do fertilizer on small plants. The korchanoso, you can wrap it. The koitminoso, and you can pluck it. The oisel and batim, you can put little gates around it. Mashkanoso, you can irrigate it. Ad Rosh Hashanah of Shemitah. Ad Rosh Hashanah in, but B'Shvi is low. So the first price says you're allowed to do it in Shemitah. The second price says you're not. And maybe that's what you have to fend for. Maybe Dilma Ukra Barchama, Damra Ukra Barchama, Tre Kaskuse Havi. Hiskus is like weeding. Chad Lavuri Ilna. One is to make the tree stronger, for usher. V'chad Lestume Pili. The other is to sort of fill up the cracks so that there won't be damage. For sure, it's like preventative. Chanami Tre Ziumeha. Here there's two kinds of ziyum. Chad Luk Meili V'shari. If it's just to sort of keep the tree in its current state, that's permitted. But if it's to make it healthier, to grow more, that's asur. Maybe you had anointing with oil. You're allowed to use oil, both chomoid and shmita. Sachin is a pagim. You can use oil, the immature figs. V'menakvin, make holes in it. Umefatmin ad Rosh Hashanah, but ad Rosh Hashanah in B'Shvi is low. What says me dummy? Hacha, if they're gonna put oil on the place where they prune the leaves, that's ukmi il nevishai. That's just to keep the tree in its current status, not to improve it. Hasam, but the other approach is petume peri, is to fatten up the fruits, and that's also. Arler of Sama Braid Ravashi Ravina. Bar Yirmiyah, Sicha, Demoid as Zium Demoid Kukashale, anointing with Shemen on Chomoid and Zium on Chomoid is the problem. Michte, how kim kim? Both actions are just to be mamid. Maishna Haida Shari, Maishna Haida Aser. Why would they one be mutter, one be Aser? That's why it said less naga, velo banaga, different. He challenged people to come to Fe'enfer. Let's say there's an idol and you use a stick and you pound the floor with the stick. So shaver makil b'faneh chayv. If you break the stick, you'd be chayv for worshiping Avodah Zara. If you just threw the stick, zarak makil b'faneh potter. Why? It's like shechting. Breaking a stick is similar to shechting a behema. You break it. So and we said it has to be some kind of avodah that's similar to something done in the base of Mikdash. Well, when you throw a stick, zarak nami avalei kein zrika. Why shouldn't throwing a stick like throwing the blood on the mizbeach? Or melei beina zrika mishtaberes. Blood is thrown drops. It's not one. It's not. Here you're throwing a stick, a whole thing. But with zrika, it's like not the whole thing. Veleka, esfe, safis lotzoa, that you fed an idol excrement. Or you poured urine in front of it. Chayiv. Now, we'll have to explain this, but we'll explain it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll learn at 4:30.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.